They thought they broke her. She wasn't loud about her pain. She didn't post about it. She didn't cry where the world could see her. No, she carried it like a queen carries a crown. High, silent, heavy. But make no mistake, she was hurting. Behind the forced smiles and the polished answers, behind the late-night scrolling and the mornings she didn't want to move, behind the quiet, consistent, exhausting trying, she was fighting a war no one saw. They didn't see the tears she cried in the shower, didn't hear the panic in her chest when the world felt too heavy, didn't know that she'd whisper, "I can't do this," in the dark, and still rise the next day like nothing was broken. But that's the thing about her. She kept going anyway, even when no one was clapping, even when the mirror didn't reflect the woman she wanted to be, even when everything screamed for her to stop. She refused. Because somewhere deep inside, buried under years of shame and doubt and disappointment, there was a voice, a whisper. You were made for more. See, they only noticed her when she glowed, but they didn't stick around when she was dim. They wanted the highlight reel, not the process, not the lonely nights, not the heartbreak, not the work. They didn't want her messy, or uncertain, or real. But here's what they didn't realize. The version of her they walked away from, that version was transforming, not dying, not breaking, becoming. They told her she was too sensitive, too dramatic, too ambitious, too much. They told her she needed to calm down, be realistic, smile more. They told her she was difficult, unpredictable, hard to love. So for a while, she tried to fix herself, tried to shrink, tried to be low maintenance, tried to silence the thunder in her chest. She became so good at pretending that even she believed the lie. But pretending is exhausting, and she was tired of being tired. Here's the truth. She hit rock bottom, and it didn't look like it does in the movies. There wasn't some dramatic fall, no storm, no car crash, no thunderous climax. It was quiet. It was invisible. It was when she looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the woman staring back. Rock bottom was waking up and realizing she hadn't laughed in weeks. Rock bottom was ghosting herself, not just others. Rock bottom was the numbness. That nothingness that whispers, "This is just your life now." But here's the thing about rock bottom. It's solid. It's the place where the real foundations are built. No more masks, no more pretending, no more trying to be digestible for a world that couldn't stomach her full power. Rock bottom wasn't the end. It was her rebirth. And what rises from ashes? A fire no one can put out. There was no applause the day she decided to come back. No one noticed when she deleted the toxic messages, unfollowed the fake friends, or stopped replying to people who only came around when they needed something. No crowd cheered when she said no for the first time without guilt. No parade when she chose rest instead of burnout. No standing ovation when she finally whispered to herself, "I deserve better." But that moment, that was her turning point. She started small. 5 minutes of silence before the chaos, a walk in the sun, one honest journal entry, drinking water like it was sacred. Looking at herself in the mirror, not to criticize, but to see. The beginning was quiet, but her return will be loud. They'll ask her one day, "How did you do it? How did you survive it? How did you change so much?" And she'll smile, because they'll never understand the battles she fought just to feel like herself again. They'll never know that the strength they admire was built in silence. When she felt like collapsing, but stood anyway. When she felt unloved, but chose to love herself. When she felt forgotten, but remembered who the hell she was. Because this is the thing. She was never weak. She was wounded. She wasn't lost. She was learning. She didn't disappear. She was rebuilding. Every woman who has been counted out knows this truth. The world will not hand you your worth. You have to claim it. No one is coming to crown you. You have to wear that crown like it's grown from your skull. You will be underestimated. You will be doubted. You will be judged for how loudly you rise. But let them talk. Because while they whisper behind your back, you'll be building an empire. She stopped waiting for someone to choose her. She stopped begging to be seen. She stopped asking for permission. She realized her life wasn't meant to be lived in the shadows. She is not here to play small. She is not here to apologize for her strength. She is not here to be liked. She is here to be legendary. This is for the women who have been broken, bruised, and betrayed, and still rise with grace. This is for the women who were taught to be quiet, but now speak like thunder. This is for the women who have been told they're too much, and finally said, "Good. I was never meant to be less." She was counted out, but now she's counting herself in, not just in the room, not just in the story, but at the head of the table, and this is only the beginning. The moment she stood before the mirror was the moment the war truly began. Not with others, but with herself. For years she had avoided that reflection, because what she saw didn't match the story she wanted to tell. The mirror held every scar, every tear, every doubt. It reflected back the woman she was taught to be, small, silent, pleasing. But beneath the surface, a storm, a wildness, a strength she was only beginning to understand. Looking in the mirror was like looking at a battlefield, a place where dreams were shattered and rebuilt, where self-love was a fragile shoot, barely surviving the weight of the past. She didn't know it then, but this moment, this uncomfortable confrontation, was the start of her reclaiming power. The mirror didn't just show her what was broken, it showed her what was left standing, the fierce, unyielding core, the warrior inside the woman who'd been counted out. The warrior was quiet at first. She didn't shout. She didn't storm the room. She whispered. She whispered to herself, "I am enough. I am worthy. I am capable." She wasn't perfect. She was not without fear, but she was learning to face the fire without flinching. Every day was a battle, not with anyone else, but with the voice inside her head that tried to convince her she wasn't good enough. And what does a warrior do? She fights. She fights the lies. She fights the shame. She fights the past that tries to chain her down. But she doesn't fight alone. She found allies in the most unexpected places. In the books that spoke truths no one dared say out loud. In the women who carried their own scars but stood tall anyway. In the quiet moments when she chose kindness over judgment. She learned to lift her own spirit, to hold her own hand, to be the friend she always wished she had. This is the path of the warrior woman. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about showing up, even when your heart is shaking. Every time she looked in the mirror, she chose to see a little more of her worth, a little more of her power. Not because the mirror changed, but because she did. She rewrote the story she'd been told, from "I'm not enough" to "I am unstoppable." She replaced doubt with determination, fear with fierce love, because she knew that if she couldn't stand for herself, no one else would. The warrior wasn't born overnight. She was forged in fire. Every moment of pain became fuel. Every setback, a lesson. Every no, a step closer to yes. She learned to trust the process, to trust the fight, to trust herself. And with every battle, she grew stronger. Stronger than the whispers of too much. Stronger than the voices that said, "You won't make it." Stronger than the fear of failing again. She became a force. Unstoppable, undeniable, unbreakable. But strength wasn't her only weapon. Vulnerability was her shield. Because a true warrior knows, it's not weakness to ask for help. It's courage. It's not failing to fall down. It's winning to get back up. So she gathered her pieces, not to hide them, but to shine with them. Her cracks became her light, her scars, her story. And when she finally faced the world again, she wasn't the same woman who stood before the mirror that day. She was a warrior reborn, and now she walks with a new kind of confidence. Not the loud kind that demands attention, but the quiet kind that commands respect. She knows her worth. She speaks her truth. She owns her power. To every woman listening, every soul standing at her own mirror, the warrior inside you is waiting. She's waiting for you to see her, to believe in her, to rise with her. Because the woman you see reflected isn't just a survivor. She's a fighter, a queen, a force of nature. You are that warrior. You have always been. The only question is, will you rise? Will you fight? Will you claim the power that's been inside you all along? They never saw her coming. The woman who spent years invisible. The one who whispered when she wanted to shout. The one who folded herself small to fit the space others left behind. But now, she's rising. Not quietly, not politely. She's rising like a storm. There's a power in being unseen, a hidden strength in knowing what they don't see. Because while they were busy counting her out, she was building skill, building resilience, building a vision so fierce it could burn through any glass ceiling. She wasn't waiting for permission. She wasn't waiting for a seat at the table. She was making her own throne. The rise of the unseen queen is the moment she stops asking for approval and starts giving it to herself. She knows her value isn't in their eyes. Her power isn't measured by their standards. She sets her own rules. She plays by her own game. And the world, it has no choice but to pay attention. She's done with waiting in the shadows, done with shrinking to fit the expectations of a world that never designed itself for her greatness. She steps forward, bold, unfiltered, unstoppable. She speaks with conviction. She acts with purpose. She's not here to blend in. She's here to stand out, to break molds, to shatter ceilings, to redefine what a woman can be. And make no mistake, rising isn't easy. It's messy, it's painful, it's lonely. There are days when doubt claws at her throat, when the noise of the world tries to drown out her voice. But she presses on, because she understands something others don't. The fiercest queens are forged in fire. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every failure, a foundation. Every closed door, a challenge to build a new one. She's not afraid to fail, because she knows failure is just the first step toward greatness. She gets up faster, pushes harder, shines brighter. She surrounds herself with warriors, women who lift each other, who celebrate rather than compete, who know that rising together means rising higher. She is part of a movement, a revolution. And while the world may try to box her in, her spirit remains untamed. She is unapologetically herself, flawed, fierce, and free. She wears her scars like armor, her story like a crown. The rise of the unseen queen is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of who she already is. It's about reclaiming every piece of herself that was ignored or denied. It's about turning pain into power. She commands the room, not because she demands it, but because her presence cannot be ignored. She doesn't need to shout. She doesn't need to prove herself. She is proof. To every woman who has been overlooked, underestimated, ignored, this is your call to rise. Rise beyond the noise. Rise beyond the doubt. Rise beyond the limits they tried to place on you. Rise with the fire that burns inside. Rise with the courage that refuses to be silenced. Rise like the queen you were born to be, because when the unseen queen rises, the whole world changes. She doesn't just break ceilings, she builds new kingdoms. She doesn't just survive, she thrives. She is unstoppable. She is undeniable. She is unbreakable. And this is only the beginning. She's no longer fighting to be seen. She's no longer proving she belongs. Because now, she rules. Not because she demands it, not because she needs to, but because she knows her worth. And nothing can take it from her. The reign of self is about claiming your power without hesitation. It's about saying no to the noise that tries to shrink you. It's about saying yes to every part of you. The strength, the softness, the fire, the fear. She reigns over her own life. She makes the rules. She sets the pace. No longer defined by the opinions of others, she crafts her own narrative. She is the architect of her destiny, the author of her story. And every day she wakes up and chooses herself. This reign isn't about perfection. It's about authenticity. She embraces her flaws. She honors her journey. She celebrates her victories, no matter how small. Because in owning every piece of herself, she becomes whole. Self-love is her foundation. Self-respect, her armor. She guards her energy fiercely. She protects her peace. She surrounds herself with those who uplift, encourage, and believe. She's learned that her circle is sacred, that her time and attention are precious. She no longer tolerates negativity. No more doubters, no more toxic energy. She stands tall, unapologetic, because she knows her power is her own, and she won't let anyone steal it. In the reign of self, she takes control of her story. She writes it bold, loud, and unapologetic. She celebrates her wins, learns from losses, and never stops evolving. She's no longer afraid to dream big, to take risks, to own her desires. She knows the road isn't always smooth. There will be days of doubt, moments of fear, but she has learned to sit with discomfort, to let it fuel her growth. Because rain is not about never falling. It's about rising every time. She looks in the mirror and sees not just the woman she is, but the woman she's becoming. She honors her scars, the proof of battles fought and won. She honors her dreams, the fire that drives her forward. She honors herself, because she knows that her greatest reign comes from within. And with this reign comes a new power, the power to inspire, to uplift, to lead. She doesn't just hold space for herself, she makes space for others. She knows what it means to struggle, to feel lost, to battle doubt. And now, she uses her voice to remind every woman listening, you are not alone. You are stronger than you think. You are worthy of your own love and respect. This is the reign of self, where the underdog becomes the queen, where the quietest voice becomes the loudest roar, where every woman stops waiting to be chosen and chooses herself instead. So rise, queen. Own your throne. Wear your crown with pride. Because your reign is here, and the world better be ready. She's done more than rise. She's done more than reign. Now she builds a legacy, not for fame, not for fortune, but for something greater, for the generations of women who will come after her. Legacy is not a monument made of stone. It's not a trophy on a shelf. It's the impact you leave, the doors you open, the hearts you touch. She's no longer just surviving. She's thriving and lighting the way for others to do the same. Every step she took, even the hardest ones, built a bridge from doubt to confidence, from silence to voice, from fear to freedom. She's breaking cycles, smashing ceilings, dismantling every limit placed on her because of her gender. Her legacy is written in courage, in resilience, in love, fierce and unyielding. It's in the way she lifts other women, the way she celebrates their wins as if they were her own, because she knows this truth. When one queen rises, we all rise. She's a warrior and a healer, a fighter and a nurturer, a visionary who never stops pushing forward. Her legacy isn't perfect, but it's real. It's messy and beautiful, filled with failures turned lessons, filled with scars turned strength. And that's exactly what makes it worth building. Legacy isn't about being flawless. It's about being fearless. It's about showing up, even when the world tells you to stay small. So what will your legacy be? Will you let the doubt silence you, or will you roar louder? Will you let the past define you, or will you write your own future? Because here's the truth. You have the power to build a legacy that outlives the noise, a legacy that inspires every woman who's ever felt invisible. You are more than the struggles you face. You are more than the limits placed on you. You are a queen, a force of nature, and a legacy in the making. So rise up, build bold, and never stop. Because the legacy you build today is the kingdom that will reign tomorrow, and the world needs your light. Unstoppable isn't just a moment. It's not a single event or a trophy to hold. It's a daily decision, a relentless commitment, a mindset that says, no matter what, I keep moving forward. She didn't become unstoppable by accident. It took sweat, tears, heartbreak, and hard-won victories. Every morning she chose herself. Every time doubt whispered, she roared louder. Every time fear tried to freeze her, she stepped forward. Unstoppable is habit. It's a muscle she built, and it's a power you can build too. In moments when you feel like giving up, when the weight of the world is pressing down, that's when being unstoppable counts most. Because unstoppable means rising, even when the odds say no. It means showing up, even when you're tired. It means fighting, even when the battlefield seems endless. You're not alone in those moments. Every queen has faced her darkest days. But those are the days that define us. The days that show us who we really are. Strong, brave, unbreakable. Remember this. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to start. One step, one breath, one moment of courage at a time. And when you stumble, get up. Brush off the dust. Keep going. Because the woman who never quits, she's the woman who becomes unstoppable. You carry a power inside you that no one else has. A power born from your unique story. Your struggles, your triumphs, your scars. That power is your armor and your sword. Let the world hear your voice. Let them see your fire. Let them feel your strength. You are unstoppable, not because you're fearless, but because you refuse to let fear win. So stand tall, speak loud, and own every moment. Because unstoppable isn't just a word, it's you. She wasn't born with a crown on her head. No throne was waiting for her. No red carpet laid beneath her feet. Because queens aren't given power, they claim it. They take what's rightfully theirs, not out of arrogance, not out of entitlement, but out of a deep knowing that they are worthy. It's time to stop waiting for someone to crown you. Time to stop looking to the sidelines for permission. Time to claim your throne. Your power is already within you. Your strength has been forged in fire. Your voice has survived storms. Now it's time to sit in your power, bold, unapologetic, unshakable. Claiming your throne doesn't mean you won't face battles. It means you face them head on. It means showing up when the world doubts you. It means standing tall when others try to tear you down. It means leading with heart when others lead with fear. Remember every challenge that tried to break you, every insult meant to silence you, every door that closed in your face. Those were the gates you needed to smash down, the fire you needed to walk through, the moments that shaped the queen you've become. You're the ruler of your own destiny, the architect of your dreams, the author of your story. So wear your scars like medals. Speak your truth like a declaration. Walk your path like it's paved in gold. Because queens don't follow the crowd. They lead it. They don't wait for their turn. They create their turn. They don't apologize for being powerful. They celebrate it. This is your throne, your kingdom, your moment. Claim it. Own it. Rule it. Because she was counted out. Until she became unstoppable. And now she's reigning. Every queen leaves a legacy, not just in the crown she wears or the battles she wins, but in the lives she touches, the hearts she ignites, the fires she lights in others. Your story, your rise, is not just for you. It is for every woman who feels unseen, for every girl who's told she's not enough, for every soul waiting to break free. Legacy is the echo of your courage, the imprint of your strength, the whisper of your voice long after you've spoken. You have the power to inspire change, to shift minds, to shatter ceilings, to build a world where queens rise and reign, unafraid. But legacy isn't about perfection. It's about authenticity. Showing up, even when you stumble. Leading, even when the path is uncertain. Loving yourself fiercely, even when the world doubts. Remember, the greatest legacy is the one that comes from living your truth. No apologies, no compromises. So rise up, queen. Keep pushing. Keep fighting. Keep building the empire only you can build. Lift as you climb. Speak your truth loud. Create space for others to shine alongside you. This is your time, your generation, your movement. The world is waiting for the unstoppable woman you've become. The woman who refuses to be counted out. The woman who turns every no into a yes, a victory, a revolution. Be the queen who changes the game. The woman who rewrites the rules. The force who inspires generations. Because you are unstoppable. You are unbreakable. You are legendary. And your legacy starts right here, right now.